a new haircut, and I got a new fridge, and now I'm going to make a new recipe for you today. It's going to be soul bread because I'm out of bread, so I have to make bread. And this is actually my favorite bread because it doesn't have the almond flour and the coconut flour, and it's basically flourless, and it's really good. It doesn't taste like eggs. A lot of the bread recipes, they say it tastes too eggy. This does not, and that's why I love it so much. So I'm going to make it for you. I've amended the recipe, so I kind of have to follow my little cheat sheet here. The ingredients, I'll read to you. It's going to be cream cheese, butter, olive oil, some heavy cream, eggs, and the dry ingredients will include cream of tartar. I'm going to use psyllium husk for the thickening, and I'm also going to combine a little bit of xanthan gum in there because they're both thickening agents. And then the whey isolate powder is going to be the main thing that replaces the flour. And then we just add some seasoning, and there you have it. So that's what there is to put in there. There's kind of a lot of things to making up this bread recipe, but it's all worth it. Okay, I've laid out all my ingredients and measuring stuff. I've got the oven preheated at 325. And the first thing you want to do is to soften the cream cheese and butter. The cream cheese you should start off with room temperature. I didn't, so I had to speed this up for you, and I put it in the microwave just to get it at room temperature. The butter's melted now, and I'm going to add how much of the butter? It's a fourth a cup of butter. Cream cheese is 12 ounces, so it took almost 2 packages of the cream cheese. I'm going to add the butter to the cream cheese, and I'm going to mix that up. When the cream cheese is soft and the butter's melted, it of course blends a lot better. A lot of the recipes for soul bread call for 4 eggs with this amount of measurements. I'm going to use 2 eggs and the equivalent of 2 egg whites, which is 1/3 of a cup of egg whites. It uses less eggs, and to me, the last time I did this, the bread was fluffier. So I'm going to do it again, and that's the recipe I'm sharing with you, is the fact that I'm doing 2 eggs and the equivalent of 2 egg white, 1/3 of a cup of egg whites, which is the equivalent of 2 more eggs, okay? And now you mix all of that up. Now at this point, I want it blended really well, so I'm going to get my hand mixer out. That'll blend it and make it a lot smoother. Blender! Here we go. I almost forgot the olive oil. I have 1/4 a cup of olive oil. That needed to be mixed in when you put the butter in with the cream cheese. That would have been a good time to add that. I also forgot the heavy cream, and I have 1/4 of a cup of heavy cream. It's okay if it's a little bit out of order. The idea is to get them all blended together, and some things are easier to blend together first and then add other ingredients in the mix and then blend those. But because I used the electric mixer, it blended everything pretty nicely. So now that's a nice blend of ingredients, okay? I'm now going to sift the dry ingredients. That's going to call for, look, what should we start with? Let's start with the whey protein isolate. Ta-da! It calls for 1 2/3 of a cup, and so I'm going to scoop it out into the cup like so. At least start with my cup measurement. That looks like a good cup. I'm going to put it in the sifter, and now I've got 2/3 to do, and that's there. And now for the salt, 1/2 teaspoon. 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar. And that's going to go in the sifter. 1, 2. Baking soda. Where do I have that? Where's my baking soda? I had it here. Oh. It was hiding. 1 teaspoon. Alright. The amount of psyllium husk I'm going to divide because I amended the recipe for 1 teaspoon of psyllium husk and 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of the psyllium husk, and I really like psyllium husk in bread. I use it every bread recipe I make. I add the psyllium husk. I don't always add the xanthan gum. So, and 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum. So now I have all the dry ingredients in here, and I'm going to sift that into the wet mixture, like so. I'm going to get some of it stirred in there, and then I'm going to add more. I think it just makes it easier to blend it all if you stir it as you go along. Now, more. Stir in the rest. So I lined a loaf pan with parchment paper. It just makes it easy. You could oil the pan, you don't need parchment paper, but it does make it easy just to kind of pull out the bread. And now you're just going to plunk the dough right into the loaf pan. Alright, so I have that in the loaf pan. Other renditions of this is to add rosemary or other things to it. In this case, I like my bread sprinkled with sesame seeds, so the top of it, that's what I like. So you can do that or not. It's going to bake for 50 minutes. Okay, it's fresh out of the oven. You want to see it? Okay, isn't it beautiful? It rose rather nicely. It's still pretty hot. I mean, this bread is just beautiful. I'm just going to take a bite for you. Oh, heavens. You guys are going to love this bread. I cooked myself a burger patty, and I have all the fixings to make myself a hamburger with bread. I decided to end off showing you my burger, putting my burger on. I made my burger square so it fits right on there. I'm so smart. Okay, and I have all the fixings, so I'm going to put on my favorite stuff, which I love pickles, and I love tomatoes, and I like some onions, just a little bit, not much, and lettuce. There we go, that's all the fixings. Then I'm going to put this on top. Oh, look at that, you guys. I hope you enjoy this bread recipe.